In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Welcome to Scarlet's Fever, the home of Saucepan Central and Westerer is Besterer. Hello and welcome to the bonus podcast for this week with me, Lee G. Joining me as always is Martin. Evening, Mart.
Evening, bud. How we doing?
Yeah, great. Lovely job, Lee. So we haven't done a bonus pod for a while. On tonight's bonus pod, we've been looking forward to this for a while because we've been trying to work this one out for a while. So anyone that does anything with rugby on Twitter in West Wales will have heard of the Llanelli Warriors and the Pembrokeshire Vikings. But do you know enough about them? Because it's one of those things that you kind of think you do, but you actually don't. So this evening, our guest on the pod is player coach from the Llanelli Warriors, Gwylim. Evening, Gwyl. How are we?
Oh, evening, guys. Pretty good. Yeah. It's a nice late September day. The weather's a bit more normal than it has been. So, yeah, all good. Looking forward to a chat.
Yeah, I'd make the most of that because decent weather at this time of year, right? So, yeah, really happy to have you on the pod, mate, because like I say, it's one of those things, mixed ability, that we kind of think we know bits and bobs about, but so many of us in the rugby kind of community don't know enough about it. So just kind of give us a rough overview of what is mixed ability, why is it different, what are the rules, and where did it come from, what's the history behind it?
Right, okay. So actually, it's not that different. So the clubs involved have got a bit of an ethos to try and include people with learning disabilities. Learning disabilities primarily, and then that sort of evolved and it's now encompassing some sort of mental health and there's some physical disabilities as well. So in the Warriors, and I think this is pretty typical, about half the players are sort of registered disabled or could or have some sort of disability that ranges from quite mild stuff to quite profound stuff. And yeah, so the idea was that these people were missing out on the chance to play rugby. Here we are in West Wales, Llanelli, obviously massive rugby history, and these guys were seeing their brothers, fathers, cousins, uncles, friends, etc., mothers and sisters, and what have you, all playing rugby, and were perhaps denied that. So the Warriors is about trying to give some rugby experiences, primarily playing, but there's more to rugby than just the 80 minutes on the field. Some opportunities. So in terms of rules, we have passive scrums. So that obviously sort of makes it easier because we don't have to recruit 3 specialist players plus for that position. And also with Down syndrome, there's a fusion of the top of the spine. So that will make it dangerous for some of the guys, especially when we're starting out, some of the guys who were involved then. Passive scrums are just sort of, unfortunately, it's becoming more common in the game, isn't it? Lots of second sides don't do a lot of competitive scrummaging anymore. So we fit in there, and we have rolling subs every time. So again, I guess most friendly matches will probably have rolling subs across West Wales. So obviously that gives us a good chance to give everybody as much game time as they want, or include everybody at least a bit. And other than that, it's just a sort of an ethos of not being too serious, trying to make sure everyone has a game. We'll have a chat with the opposition and say, look, can we have the tackles that you have to make rather than you could make? So if someone knocks you over the first time, we'll try a bit harder next time. But at the same time, we tend to play on a Sunday, and we all want to get to work on a Monday morning as well. And so it's just a little bit watch who you're tackling. Quite a lot of the mixed ability sides use a bit of identification, different shorts, sort of bib or something, but we don't do that in the Warriors. We sort of we sort of put the onus on the players. Look, we're not going to make it easy. Have a look where you're tackling, and act appropriately. And and if you make a mistake, well, you make a mistake. So all our players are used to being knocked down. It is full contact. We've got 2 back row out at the moment, broken bones in consecutive games. It's there's a great quote from one of the Bradford. There's a team in Bradford, and the guy said, people don't want us to get hurt, but that's part of rugby. We know we're going to get hurt, or words to that effect. So it's full contact rugby. It's a chance for them to do what the rest of their family and their fathers and grandfathers and everyone else in the village or whatever is doing. And it's a chance to be part of that rugby community. Anyone who crosses that respect, anyone who crosses the white line and plays rugby, you're then sort of instantly related to everyone from Alan Wyn Jones to the 5th Reserve Warriors prop, or me or whoever, whatever. But there's that respect, I think, for anyone who's prepared to go and have a bash on the field and put their body on the line. Yeah. In a word.
And I think the players get a lot more enjoyment out of it, don't they? It's sometimes you watch in a standard game, players can come off the pitch and be quite angry.
Yeah, I think part of the popularity of it, because it's popular with boys, a lot of boys without disabilities as well, is that there's not that. I played rugby in Betters for most of my adult life, and even I even remember school. When I started 8, 9, 10, it was 15 aside, full scrums, a lot of it. And every game you played, when Glenalmond played down in school, you wanted to win. When Better Seconds played Pantaffynon, you want to win. The Warriors isn't like that. You come along, you have a go. It's everyone says, don't worry about mistakes. That's a hard way to, you don't want too much pressure. But the Warriors it's just off. Have a go. Come on. If you drop every ball that comes to you, it doesn't matter. If you can't train, obviously in some ways, we like to be professional. We've got 2 training sessions, and we be as good as we can. But a lot of boys, they can't. That you don't need that commitment. There's not committee men having a go at you as you come off the field. You've let the village down and all this. So it's a bit more fun. We like to try and play expansive, so everybody's involved. 15-man rugby, and there's a big element on the social side as well. That. Not necessarily having a drink, but having a crack together, going away, going to places, having, curry nights, quizzes, tours, you name it. So, it's a lot of fun, and it hasn't got that pressure that, Llanelli Swansea or Loughor Gowerton or Hendy, all those myriad, everyone's got one, or at least one, and every club's got at least one side they want to win. Apart from the Gladiators, we're not both. Apart from the Swansea side, it doesn't matter too much. And even our one doesn't really matter.
So me and Martin have got this theory that just everyone in West Wales hates Loughor anyway, haven't we, Mark? That's our theory.
No comment. As a Betters player of 7 years standing, no comment at all. The Warriors have had a couple of cracking games down in Loughor recently, so can't. With my Warriors hat on, they're a great club.
It sounds like there's a lot of good things going on with mixed ability rugby. It seems like a sport for absolutely everyone and everything. So, where did the Llanelli Warriors come from? Like, how long have they been going? Was it just a scratch side from the start, or has it built up over the years?
So the oldest side in the world is the Swansea Gladiators, and they're 2 or 3 years older than the Warriors. And there was a couple of their players were working as staff in Hale Gotha Special Activity Centre, which was a day centre in Llanelli town for people with learning disabilities. So they'd come in and do various activities. They were playing for the Swansea Gladiators and said, look, you need to be doing this. We challenge you to a game. They had, so Gary James was the sort of main instigator in Hale Gotha Centre at the time. Big play for Buddy Port, former captain and stuff. So we rounded up a mixture of, I think they asked pretty much every male in the centre. So the centre manager played, and thank goodness they're not in this age. It probably wouldn't have happened. But Andrew Murray took it upon himself to let it happen and played himself at fullback. They roped everybody in, clients, staff, friends, family, a couple of Bury Port boys as well that Gary knew, and they had a game in Gwylim and then a return match at Llanelli Warriors, and that was the first season, and that was in 1995. So it's 28 years into it. The Gladiators have just finished their 30th season now, so they're coming into their 31st season now. The next year was one game, but it was at Stradi, and there's a bit of interest from S4C. Craig Cornell presented because he could see the lights on and wondered what was on, and came across and then they made him do the presentations. And from that, I think there's a bit of interest, although they didn't play again that year, there's a bit of interest generated. And I started working in the centre about that time. And the next year we played 7 fixtures, then 10, 12, and we're up to, we played 21 last year. We played, the year before was our 25th season, we played 35, which is as much, more than, I think, any other senior side in Wales. Because it was a COVID effective season. A lot of sides didn't play, a lot of league games are cancelled and stuff. But we went with real effort on our 25th anniversary. And boys like rugby. We just kept going all the way through. We had a tournament in Cork at the end of it. There's a sort of mixed ability World Cup championship thing. So that was the end of our season. Really busy, and now 2 training sessions a week, or a training session and a game, or 2 training sessions, and 21 fixtures. We had a few cancelled, so it's pretty full on now.
Oh wow, that's outstanding. Is it just the one squad? Of all in?
Yeah, one squad. We could play 2, but then you have to start getting into who would miss out on games and is it A and B and this and the other. And all the boys want to play they're very proud of their appearance records and stuff and things. So we play every game. We've had 3 games this year so far, and we've had 30 players, around 30 players for each one. If we don't get 20 training, and it's probably a poor probably it's bad weather or someone's got a birthday on or something, it's good going.
So obviously you've got the rolling subs as well, so every single person gets a turn. Obviously either 2 training sessions or 1 training in a game. So where and when are these sessions? If someone wants to get involved, how do they get involved?
Right. Okay. So the training sessions are at People's Park so the Wednesday one is the one that stays whether we've got a game or not. Wednesday 6:00 People's Park on the Wanderers pitch there. We got pretty good social media. So a message via Twitter or Facebook or the website is good, but you can just rock up at training and see if you fancy it. 6:00, very welcoming bunch. And then on a Sunday, if we haven't got a game, again 2:00 on People's Park there.
So when somebody does turn up, let's assume it's somebody that's never played rugby before. How do you get them from where they are into the game? Because we've all seen it, we've all watched it, and you just assume that people have always played and stuff like that. But if they haven't, the opportunity is still there to be involved, isn't it?
Yeah. The in a word, slowly. So we sort of start off. Obviously, a lot of our guys have not only never played club rugby, but a lot of them would have had quite limited sort of sporting activities anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, that is improving. Hale Goffer School has now got a WRU hub officer, and he runs a Young Warriors training group, 12 to 16-year-olds, alongside on a Wednesday for an hour. And we're hoping to have the first sort of graduate of that come across when he has his 18th birthday. We by taking them to one side and going, asking about what experience they got, and if it's none, we'll have a back to basics training, tackle session for the whole team. There's nothing wrong with starting again, ring of steel and step in and all those really basic, under 10 stuff, but perfectly relevant. But we get the whole squad doing it, so they don't feel it's them. We just build it up slowly. The beauty of rolling subs is often we can sort of, it could be a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, slowly sort of, getting involved slowly like that. And yeah, just taking time, making sure it's not too overwhelming. Getting to know the person is really important, because obviously if you've got sort of autism or a disability, nobody likes to, part of our reason for not marking, no one wants to say, oh yeah, I can't, I can't move this way, or this arm doesn't do this, or I can't understand that, or whatever it is. So we just get to know the person, build them up, try and work with them a little bit, build up the confidence, and slowly integrate more and more. So yeah, slowly.
That sounds fantastic, mate. So we made a bit of a thing a couple of weeks ago about the fixture with the Vikings, what with me being West Wales and Martin being East Wales. So how did that game go?
Yeah, I didn't like being pasted at East Wales. That's it's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's one of those, so we have to do East, we're West Wales and East West Wales. It gets very confusing sometimes.
So yeah, I mean, we didn't win the game. And as a coach, it was a bit, you could tell it was our first, well, it was our second game actually, because we got absolutely hammered by Morrison seconds in midweek. But you could see it was an early game. There's sort of people not quite standing where they should be, and things like that. Started really slowly, and we did okay. Lost by 7 points in the end. But I mean, as an occasion, it's great down there. They Simon Gardner and Andrew Meddins, that they've got. It's such a big welcome. They have a good crowd down there. It feels like an event. It's a bit hostile, to be honest, which is which is good. And it's about rugby experiences. They had a little bit there. So it was for the Don Newt Memorial Cup, which is a relative of Simon's who was really into sort of local sport and stuff. So that was an honour for us to be involved in that. And there was a bit of a touch game first, which we did win. And then so there's a couple of trophies as well. Obviously, we got a really good relationship with the Vikings. We were the first team that played them, and we've sort of been help. Any advice that Simon's ever wanted, we're always sort of available to sort of help and stuff. We've got a player, Youssef, who moved from the Warriors to the Vikings, who's a bit of a legend in both clubs. So it's great. We go up there and we're all old friends, and as rugby players do, we then try and get one up on each other on the field, and there's lots of sort of set little battles in the main thing. But no, it was great. It was a blazing hot sunny day. It was the same weekend as the Iron Man was on, so it was there was lots going on down that end, and just travelling along the coast is lush. And the boys luckily I wasn't on the bus, but the bus didn't get back to sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock or something. And there's all sorts of videos that I can't show you of people. Yeah. If it had just been singing, I would have been fine. But it was they had a good trip home.
It was a proper rugby experience.
A proper rugby stay away. It was it's great. It's great to see. I got my head in my hands sometimes, because sort of people sponsor us on the basis of what we're doing, and sometimes people think of disability sport as being this sort of special, separate, thing, and it's a little bit sort of not patronising, but as though we're a special case. And I don't like our word special. We're trying to be just another rugby team, but sometimes they're a bit too much just another rugby team. But I hope we didn't pass any sponsors when you were doing that. But they had a good trip, and that's part of it. And again, these boys with this learning disabilities, they probably haven't had that chance to go on stag do's or away trips down, and coast and things. People don't like to see that. There's too much risk involved. But they were out there with the best of them on that day. So we had a great day. Fair play to the Vikings. We're looking forward to hosting them. They haven't come down to our ground yet, so we're hoping that we can win our first game when they do against them.
So you played on the Milford, what we call the plastic pitch, didn't you? And I played down there. Actually, it was my boy who played down there. Yeah, I finished playing when they built it. So I used to play on it when it was grass. And if you've ever taken a conversion or tried to kick the ball like off the end of the cliff, and then the ball just kind of turns around and comes straight back at you, and you're like, well, do I get points? Because it went through the H.
Yeah.
It didn't land the other side, but it it came back. I don't understand. And the last time we played down there, so we played against Milford. Milford had a scrum on their own 5-yard. The scrum half stuck it up in the air. The wind took it. It bounced twice and then went dead at the far end. So it was a scrum back on their 5 for the ball going dead. It's one of those pitches that is just
And I think this is what it is with what we've had some great experiences. We've got a total London Welsh again for the sort of 4th time now for the Wales England match. We've been invited. We've played at the Parc y Scalas. We've played at Millennium Principality Stadium, and obviously those are fantastic experiences. But really, it's about what I sort of imagine is the boys going back and their fathers or brothers. Oh, how'd you get on? Oh, we were down in Llanelli. Did you have to? And they still got those awful showers where you can't see a thing. There's only a trickle of water. Or what about the money of the garage? Did you have to go up the slope? Oh my, and those little things. Or did they have that cheating linesman or that big number 8? Or is die ears still down there? All those little things. Like,
Yeah.
And that's part of the sort of West Wales scene as much as a day trip to Parc y Scalas is, So it's great when you sort of we're not going down there again. Do we have we always have that breath or it's great.
But I think that's part of it, isn't it? It's really making people feel part of the rugby community, and I think when people go to watch a game, they get it. Do you know what I mean? They get the enjoyment of just playing the game, and you can see it on people's faces that actually, a 10-meter break and an offload for somebody is just the most amazing thing on the planet. And I've only ever watched one game, and this guy kind of sidestepped the fullback and went in for a try. And you'd have thought it was like the World Cup final. He dived and he was doing like the fingers and all this kind of stuff. But everyone was involved in it. The crowd were, even the opposition supporters were applauding and cheering, because you could just tell it meant so much to people. Like, it's a joy to watch. It really is a joy to watch. So let's go from one extreme to the other. Then let's go from the Vikings, right? And then how high up does this go? Is there an international level to?
Right. Okay. So when I remember speaking to we've been going a while before the WRU really got involved. We used to have we've always had Llanelli district membership for insurance, and initially we didn't have a lot of involvement, but it sort of came along and said, "Oh, well, what are you looking for?" And I said, "Well, we don't have caps or anything like that." And you could see the relief on the guys' faces, just like, "Oh, thank goodness." And our attitude is that we're just another rugby team in the community, so our cap would be a Welsh cap. That's we're trying to be the best players we can. We're not special or anything. And like 99% of the population, it's very unlikely. Pivot did come and watch a game once.
Nice.
And I turned my uncle in. I was gutted. I thought my moment had come. But Wayne was he's friends with one of with Big Ridgeon, who's a bit of a character down in Parc y Scalas. A lot of people know him because he's about 6'8" or something, and what have you. But anyway, so but no, that's our cap would be the same cap with Phil Bennett and Scott Cornell and that and like as I say, 99% of us aren't going to get there. We don't the idea is we're not special. We're like everybody else, and we all hope for a magic moment when I think I've been overlooked by about I don't know, what was I 18? So I don't know how many Welsh coaches it is now. But, they've all been wrong. I should have had a cap somewhere. So that's our attitude. There isn't an international cap. There's a World Cup club tournament that's been held 3 times, and there's a mixed ability rugby international side, which is an invitational side. So I'm involved in the sort of running of that as well, and we just try and make our extra experience. So it's the games so far have been There was one at the Principality Stadium for the Gladiators' 30th anniversary. There was one against one of the Scottish Eyes Edinburgh for their 5th anniversary, for their relaunch. So the professional side in Edinburgh took on the mixed ability side, so they had a game up there for that. So there's 3 of those a year, and they're sort of the closest that people get picked, and it's this prestigious thing, and there's a bit of kit involved and a special occasion, and we've had some sort of ex-players presenting. Cubby give out shirts to one occasion, and we've been out to Belgium, and a couple of Belgian internationals came along. So that's been, so they're real occasions, but again, the people are picked on their enthusiasm for the sport is a big factor in that. So it's not about being the best. Obviously, we have to pick a side that's going to operate. So it's got, but alongside that, there's people who are enthusiastic, who are always training, who love their rugby and really appreciate it. So we've got a game in Palmona in Spain coming up. A couple of Warriors have been selected for this one, so they can't wait to get out there. It's just in the Basque region, so the sort of the local unions and stuff have been really supportive, and hopefully I'm going to get a bit of a suntan, late suntan, and a run out for the Spanish side, because you're not allowed at the moment. You're not allowed to play twice for the Maris. So I've played once, and then I've had about 4 games for various other teams. My rugby CV is fantastic. You'd think I could play rugby or something, but. So that's the closest to. So there's that, there's the prestige of it, and I think in 6 games there must be 6 tattoos. There's always somebody gets a tattoo with their, they get their club number and what have you. So all that, and it's a bit of a rabbit hole. But if you fall down a mixed ability rabbit hole, you'll soon come across them, and you'll see the people who've been picked and how much they appreciate it and stuff. So. That's the closest to a select side, but as I say, it's not on ability, it's on enthusiasm and stuff. So
So is it just men, or is there a women's side to it as well?
There's so the Maris are going to have their first female side this time, because it's we just got to that stage on the continent. Women play mixed rugby lasts longer, I think, to sort of 14 or 15 even, maybe. So there's that sort of element. There's I'm going to miss somebody out here now, but there's a Trailblazers and Cork Jesters in Ireland. There's Cardiff Chiefs and the Dragons All-Star sides have got female touch sides. There's Worcester have got a mixed ability side, female and male. Yeovil have got a female side. So there was enough around that we could get a select side, and it hasn't included everybody. So it's definitely growing. We've had a bit of interest recently around Llanelli, having one in Llanelli, so we'll have to see how that goes. I find it's harder because there's just not as many yet, unfortunately, whereas you can point a stick at 5 men in Llanelli, and 4 of them would have played rugby. They will all have played rugby at some point, whereas unfortunately that's not how it is on the female side yet. So it's harder to sort of find those couple of old heads and experience you need to sort of give the game a bit of shape, So, but it's definitely growing, and as I say, there's a fair few sides already starting up. So we had Rachel Taylor, the former Wales international, coaching one of the Maris 15s. And Hannah, they were both involved with Colwyn Bay Stingrays at the time, so they helped prepare one of the Maris sides. So we're all for it. Inclusivity across any barriers you want to mention, we'll have a go at them.
I think that's part of the enjoyment of it, though. Is it? Like I say, it'll take a bit of time for the women's game to get there, but it will get there, and it'll get there. And I think it's the same as everything with. When we talk about equality and inclusivity, if there's enough people there that want to make it happen, it'll happen. And the Warriors are a prime example of that. But like you say, if there's a barrier, you guys will knock it down, isn't it? It's there.
And lots of people like challenging those stereotypes in it. So that's it's fun. It's fun to challenge some of these sort of old school traditional norms, whilst keeping the good traditions and breaking some of the old ones. So fingers crossed on that.
So it must cost a fair bit to get all of this together and to keep it going and all of that kind of stuff. I'm assuming there's fundraising, and can people get involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in some ways, rugby is a really cheap sport, isn't it? We have, a bit of kit, and you compared to sort of Ironman, which is really popular, golf, or a lot of other things, that it's relatively cheap on a personal level. With the mixed ability, because the sides are, so in Wales, it's Pembrokeshire Vikings, Llanelli Warriors, Swansea Gladiators, Port Talbot Panthers, Cardiff Chiefs, All-Star Dragons, and then there's Colwyn Bay are the only really established side in North Wales. Obviously, we play a lot of other sides as well, but we try and play all those sides, and they're all big trips. You get on a bus, and the costs shoot up. So that's the main thing is the cost there. We pay a bit to the Wanderers for the use of their field and stuff. We don't want to, because then that gives us a bit of a voice there and stuff. So yeah, we have a black tie dinner every year. So we had Shane Williams as guests at the last one. We've had Mr. Bateman and Mr. Devro came and did a centre partnership for us. I think they're hoping Phil Steele might do the next one. So that's always, we'll have a bit of an auction. That's always good. We run a monthly disco. We have the odd quiz night and things like that. Obviously, the Welsh Rugby Union's got to deal with Macron at the moment, so we get a whack of free kit, which is useful, because then anything you get sponsored on top of that. So we've got Waddle Insurance as our main sponsors, and local people like Keigwell Scott, Andrew Scott Limited, and some of these Pro Panther and Tinworks and Art and Design Cymru designs and stuff. They all chip in a little bit. So that covers us. The players have to pay. They all chip in for bus and stuff, and there's a membership of £50 a year. Obviously, we're a bit sort of, if people are really struggling, especially in the current sort of climate and things, then every cost is negotiable. We're lucky with a bit of kit donation and things. So we can sort of, so you said about new players, we can usually find a pair of boots and some kit to sort of for anybody who wants to, who's struggling like that. It's it's constant. If anybody wants to sponsor anything, then please get in touch. We're always looking, and every penny goes to there's it's all amateur on the coaches and committee and stuff is we're all about the club, and it's good. So therefore it's run as cheaply as possible. We do get some good local support, and but anybody else who wants to get involved, great. Or if it's a quiz night or a disco or a black tie dinner, is always good. Then come along. They actually the black tie dinner, the quizzes, they're great events. They're really a bit of fun.
And the one thing I will say about the Warriors is the social media is very informative, because sometimes you feel like you've done a training session and you've been at a game just from following you on Twitter sometimes, or X as it is now. But so I'm assuming that your social media stuff will keep everybody involved. So if anybody wants to pitch in and help out, is that the best way of getting hold of you?
Yeah. Our Facebook page is really well monitored, but Twitter as well. X. Obviously we got the team. The team sheets have got quite popular, and we try and put up a lot of enough photos and stuff for what we're doing. So a message on either of them will get to us at some point. Cool. Definitely.
And so just tell us about the team sheets, because I find it quite engaging, because like we follow every club in West Wales, and we'll see the videos, and you'll see all of the fancy photos, and everybody's trying to outdo each other with their different graphics and all of that. So tell us what your team sheet looks like.
So that was exactly the sort of thinking behind it. Was it's a bit of an arms race, isn't it? You can't move for sort of I don't know, Trim Saran thirds, and there's sort of prop steps from behind something, and a bomb goes off, and there's a fanfare and stuff. So we just say, look, well, apart from anything else, we don't know the bloody team until the day as well. Sometimes that people put it out. So it's just it's a piece of paper usually. Sometimes it's been a beer mat. it's been enveloped several times, and then you can get all the information in as well in it, who we're playing, everyone on the squad, however many it is, if there's a cup involved, what time people have got to meet. You get the club, the club mottos in there: win the game, win the party, ymlaen y ryfelwyr, strength of the team is the player, strength of the player is the team. All those bits and bobs that sort of help get the ethos across there. And I think another thing that with learning disabilities is people are scared. You hear about, I know Scope had a campaign, get rid of the awkward, or some words to that effect. If people don't know how to sort of, sometimes they're a bit nervous about how to interact with people, and the upshot of that is that sometimes people with learning disability, people are scared to take the mick a little bit. So I've always loved nicknames. When I played for Yaman, it was brutal. Honestly, the banter and going to Betos, we had Tuck 1 and Tuck 2 as the two brother props in Betos. There's a guy with hand tremors in Yaman who was called Shakes. It was just ridiculous. And one of my favourite bands, Motorhead, the classic lineup: Lemmy, Fast Eddie, and Filthy Animal. So I've always liked a nickname. And then with the Warriors, they're just so many characters. It's just unbelievable. So, we got Killer Kerr, who's perhaps the most passive, laid back guy that you could think. But Killer and Kerr go well together. So it's got everyone's nickname on there. Not everyone's necessarily got a nickname, but most people have. They go on there, can have a bit of banter with that as well. The guys enjoy it, and it seems to be popular. We get a lot of team sheets get a lot of reaction, to be fair. So it was a bit of banter, not trying to be part of the arms race, and it seems to have worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, I think you're doing a fantastic job there. I really do. And for somebody to put the amount of work in that you do and to enjoy it, we've all put a lot of work into rugby clubs, and after a while it really gets you down. But to see you smiling and so enthusiastic about the club, it's no wonder it's doing so well. So just give us a reminder then, if somebody wanted to come along and train and be a part of the Warriors, when do you train, where do you train, and how can they get involved?
Okay, so we train every Wednesday, 6:00, People's Park. If for some mad reason it's cancelled, it's always on social media. People can just rock up to that, and they can come along and watch or have a chat or whatever. It's all it's really we know that people are nervous coming to things like that for the first time, and we try to be sympathetic to that. Message through either Facebook or Twitter will get to us pretty quickly. If people have got a social worker or a key worker that or in a supported living or anything like that, then they could ask them to get involved. We've had people referred via social services, and that works really well. Our games, if you look on Facebook, then it will have when we train in, what games we've got coming up. You can message myself or Jamie Evans directly on there, all the club pages, or in the group, or just leave a message on there. We try and be proactive. So just let us know you're interested. Or rock up. We try, if we're not playing, then we'll also train on a Sunday 2 till 2:00 for a couple of hours. Again, People's Park in Llanelli, between Coleshill Centre one side, Leisure Centre the other. You can park in Leisure Centre for free. You can park in Coleshill for free actually as well, but it's a bit harder to, not everyone knows where that is. So any of those, come along. We'll have 32 players to the next game. It's great.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this evening. Genuinely, while we've been doing the podcast over the last kind of 12 months, we've interviewed some really high up people and interesting people and all of that. I've never heard anyone talk about the game with so much passion and so much enjoyment as you do. So it's been a real pleasure this evening. I genuinely wish you all the best. And the next time the Vikings are giving you a good seeing to, I'll be there on the sidelines watching, my friend. I'll definitely. Well,
you'll have to jump on a bus and come down to the Wanderers game. So it's a Wanderers ground for it to watch us at Stradey Park. But no, diolch. It's been great to come on and get it out there. So it is fun. It's hard not to be enthusiastic with some of the boys who are involved and some of the fun we have. So it's great. Thank you for asking me.
Cool, fantastic. So the observant amongst you will notice that Martin disappeared halfway through. He had a problem with his kids were wanting feeding or wanting bed or something like that. So Martin's got about 350 kids running around his house. So one of them would have been nagging him. So, but Martin will be back on the pod next week. So Gwylim, thank you very much for your time, my friend, mate. I wish you all the best. Enjoy your rugby.
Thank you very much. I certainly will do. All right, cheers.
Good luck.
Thank you for listening to the Scarlet's Fever podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps us spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.